So we're going to have a look at how you can actually identify risk in your decision-making process using a custom GPT. So I'm using my Bizualize GPT for this one, and I've already done some work. So I'm just going to show you what I've already done to make the video nice and quick. So I'm brainstorming with GPT around my business soul discovery program, which is essentially what I use to create the information about your business that you can then train AI on. So this Bizualize GPT is actually trained on my business soul. So what I want to do is I want to sort of position that business soul discovery program, and there's two components to it. There's the business soul discovery, and then there's the assistance. So most of the information that I've done with my brochures and things like that kind of focuses on the sessions, and it doesn't really put enough focus on the outcomes, which is ultimately the AI tools that either you can build or I can build for my customers. So what I've done is I've got to this point here where I've basically had this conversation and said, look, I want to focus on the assistants a little bit more because they're a little bit weak in the information. And one of the things that I've programmed this GPT to do is assess risk and really sort of challenge me and red flag things that it doesn't agree with. So I've talked to it about the assistants. I want more about the assistants. And it's basically come back to me and said, look, while assistants are undoubtedly a major deliverable, are they truly the essence of what Visualize offers, or are they simply a means to an end? And it's given me 4 points as to what it thinks is a better fit. So it's talking about the actual deliverables of the assistants, which I thought was actually a pretty good idea. So I've basically said, okay, no probs, let's go with that. I think that's a good idea. So we've done some work around framing the AI assistants, which is good, and positioning the program. Now, in this part here, what I've then asked it to do is figure out, okay, all agencies are kind of pushing these sort of outcomes, these four main outcomes, I suppose. But what is it about how we get to those outcomes that makes the difference? That's basically what I've talked about here. So it's given me a bit of a 4 point sort of report on that around the messaging framework, incorporating that stuff, which is good. I won't go into that because that's not really what's important here. What's really important is the next stage, and that is this one here, which is the canvas. So I've I've got it to create a canvas here around the positioning and something that I could use for my brochure. And interestingly enough, what it's done is at some point here, I've basically asked it a quick question. I've said, okay, just quickly check this against the what I know about Visualize knowledge, which is my business soul, to ensure that it's consistent. And it's actually flagged some really interesting stuff. So it's basically said that it aligns pretty well, which is good. It didn't see any conflicts identified with regards to the actual attitude and the approach of my business. But then when I asked it, okay, well, what about overpromising language? And all of a sudden it said to me, okay, so we've got statements here like immediate wins, future proof solutions. Maybe we adjust that to immediate wins to quick progress. And maybe we change effortless, efficiently, endless possibilities to tailored possibilities rather than endless, which is really interesting because it's picked up my whole sort of positioning statement around training AI being that the outcome is tailored to your business. So I think that's really interesting because A, it's got rid of the overpromise, and B, it's focused on it being a tailored possibility. And I think that's a really powerful statement. So anyway, it's gone through and it's given me a whole heap of these suggestions as to how I could kind of remove the overpromising language, but it's done it in a way that still aligns with my business, which I think is very, very effective. So basically what I can then say is, okay, yep, incorporate all of these into the new statement. Now I have a new canvas that I can build my brochures out of, which has the right language and doesn't overpromise. So I've identified some risks in my thinking and in my approach. And I have been able to incorporate the solutions to those risks into the content. So there you go. Really interesting approach to flagging risk in your decision making process using a custom GPT. Cheers.